Hi, I'm Titli and this is my Gasping garden. The unseasonably hot and dry weather continues and my garden is really starting to struggle. But before anything else, I need to go and pick some fruit. So I'll start off by picking some raspberries, and there's quite a lot of Oh, I've dropped one! Never mind, there's plenty because the birds haven't eaten them. Here's a little story that might amuse you. This week I had a message through Facebook from a network channel telling me how great they thought my videos were and how by joining their network I could increase my revenues. Clearly they hadn't watched any of my recent videos, otherwise they might have anticipated my answer, which went something like this. In fact, I'll tell you exactly what it said. My answer said, "Go away and stay away, open brackets. This is the polite version, close brackets." I knew I was going to need a big bowl, so there's 1.6 kilos of raspberries here, or about $3.5 pounds. Taberries next. No, wait, gooseberries. Now last year the birds scoffed my entire gooseberry harvest, every single one of them. These are a kind of purpley gooseberry. They're very sweet, quite delicious. Well, I haven't picked quite so many of these, partly because a lot of them are ripe only on one side, but secondly, I keep getting stabbed by the gooseberry plant. Now I'll pick some taberries. For those of you who are mystified by taberries, they're like a long raspberry. They pull off really easily when they're ripe. That one's not quite ripe. And this year they're not rotting like last year because of the wet summer that we had. Lovely deep purple fruit. I think I'm going to enjoy these with some ice cream this evening. Now while we're talking about the taberries, you'll notice that they're putting out quite a few shoots here. Must be what, 1, 2, 3, 4, half a dozen new shoots. These are going to carry the fruit for next year. Oh, there's another big one here, which I've just noticed poking its way out of the fruit cage. Come on, back you come. I don't think it's going to come. No, I've snapped it. Never mind. But these are the things that are going to carry the fruit for next year. So when the old canes have finished fruiting, I'll have to tie these in and train them. Just looking at my black currants here, there's a lot that are ready for picking, but there's a lot that aren't quite. So I reckon another 4 or 5 days before I pick these. As far as the blueberries are concerned, the plant on the left has already finished fruiting and I've had some blueberries off that, but you can see it's already gone into autumn mode. Whereas the one on the right, well, it still has some developing fruit on it. I think the dry conditions are making it very hard for these blueberries. The strawberries have just about finished fruiting, so I might as well take the net off. I had one decent crop of strawberries off these, but I think they were hit quite hard by the late snow. But they're looking healthy enough. So next year, here's hoping I get some more. And I can keep this net for next year now. One of the many challenges I'm having with all this continued spell of dry hot weather is keeping the plants watered, particularly in the greenhouse and also some of my vegetable crops too. I'm watering my beans pretty much every day at the moment to try and keep them climbing up the pole, and the leeks are getting the water about every 3 or 4 days. My corn gets watered every day, and one thing I only realised the other day is a spin-off of growing corn is that of course I'm going to be able to make my own tamales. Don't take away the music. No, that's Tavares. Tamales. The Mexican food wrapped in corn leaves. Jan and John, my courgette and squash, get a daily water as well. And I think I might be having some pumpkins this year. I think I need to weed my beetroot though so I can see it better. That's better. I can see what's going on now, which means I can give them a good watering. Watering the things outside isn't so bad. You know, once a day you kind of get into a routine, but where I have real challenges is in the greenhouse. I don't think this greenhouse door's been shut for the past 2 weeks, but even so, during the day it can get up to 40 degrees in here. And it's a real challenge keeping these plants, particularly the tomatoes, adequately hydrated. I've lost a few tomatoes to blossom end rot, where there's not enough calcium getting up to the flower at the time of pollination. And what that means is it's not getting enough water basically. What I've been doing is pulling these off, because I don't want the plant to be putting energy into creating fruit that I'm not going to be able to eat anyway, because it just ends up with a rotten bottom. So at the moment I'm in here twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, giving these a good soaking of water, because they really need it in this heat. I've had to come out of the greenhouse because it's absolutely sweltering. Since I've been back in the UK almost 3 years now, I've noticed that the weather here is a bit more extreme than I remember it. I mean, this year a very long spell of hot dry weather, very hot dry weather for the UK, but earlier we had a very late cold spell, which was very unusual. The year before we had one of the wettest years on record, and the winter that we arrived back here in the UK it reached minus 19 degrees centigrade here in this garden. Unheard of. Anyway, that's all I can cope with this week really. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go and watch the Tour de France this afternoon with my feet up, in the cool, inside, in front of a fan. But do join me next time in Titli's busy garden.